Full Pull Live. Today I am joined with my guest Jason Schultz.
Hola.
As well as the Executive Vice President of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association, Mr. Dave Nelson. My name is Mike Idle. I am a secondary announcer for the Outlaws. Very happy to be here today.
And a second grade teacher.
Well, something to that effect. It's summertime. Don't remind me of that.
Hey, this is hard with both of us up here because we both want to talk all the time.
I'm not
Whenever Ron Stone, Dave, you just sit over there and look pretty. You're good at that. I don't know how you got Fonda, but that's a different conversation.
We'll talk about that later.
We're doing here tonight with the live stream. It's a work together, Dave. Normally this would be on Outlaw Pulling TV, right? But Full Pull Live approached Outlaw Pulling TV and said, "Hey, we want to give back to the people of Rock Valley from the horrific flooding." And Dave, you'll talk about that a little bit. But basically, every dollar that they make off the live stream this weekend is going back to the people of Rock Valley. So our Outlaw Pulling TV subscribers were sent an email, but we also encouraged them, if they could afford it, to pay the $40 to watch Rock Valley from home for all 3 sessions in that bundle, and knowing all that money's coming back to Rock Valley. So if you're kind of wondering what this is all about, but Outlaw Pulling TV is working with Full Pull Live this weekend to bring, because you'd always rather be here, Dave. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
You'd rather be at a pull.
Sure.
But if you can't be at a pull, this is the next best thing.
There's all the reasons to be home and not being able to be at a pull, but doing it together with Outlaw Pulling TV, working this weekend with Full Pull, I mean, to me, it's a great example and a statement of the partnership that we are in growing this sport. Full Pull coming ahead and saying, "Hey, we want to help out this weekend."
And we do have gambling as well.
Yeah.
There are real money games up. I think we have Pro Stocks tonight, 2-wheel drive, Super Farm, and Light Supers.
That is
We have
correct.
4 classes up tonight for people. $5 minimum wager, up to $1,500. You pick 2 people that you finish, you're going to finish in the top 3. So it's a lot of fun. I know we're legal in 20 states. Iowa isn't one of them yet, but still a lot of people throughout the country will be wagering on this tonight. And it's having a lot of fun. Dave, we've been sitting in the stands forever.
Yeah.
Everybody throws $20 in a hat and says, "Who's going to win the Pro Stock class?"
Yeah.
Now
we've been doing it locally. Now it's coming on a national
And
level.
what's great is
organized.
then money's coming back to the pullers through the points fund at the end of the year. The Outlaws have an agreement with Full Pull that a portion of the proceeds from the wagering is coming back to the pullers, because at the end of the day, we're always finding a way. The price of the pulling vehicle only goes up and up and up, but promoters can only afford so much purse. So that the sponsorship, the wagering, the live stream is another way we can bring revenue, Dave and Mike, back into the sport, and that's what we're trying to do.
And it's the exposure on a national level of, I mean, we all know who an Esden Lane is, or pick your Outlaw puller, or pick a PPO puller.
Kurt Koima. Everybody knows who Kurt Koima is.
The Adam
Dave
Sandler
Nelson.
of Outlaw. I mean, we're taking these guys to a national stage,
Yep.
and I mean, we're bringing truck and tractor pulling out a lot higher level.
Well, the whole idea, by this is like a countdown to pull time, kind of like a college game day. And we're starting to do it with the Outlaws, with Between the White Lines. We're going to probably get like a nice little high top table, but we did it in Concord.
Yep.
We did it in White Right. We did it in Ottawa. And, we grabbed, he grabbed the shooters last night. They won the night before. You kind of tell that story, Dave, or talk to the promoter, and that's what we want to do. I know you got to get to the drivers meeting.
Yeah.
Drivers meeting's at 4:30. We're going to start pulling at 6:30 tonight. And I think 6 o'clock-ish is opening ceremony.
6 to 6:10 is going to be opening ceremony tonight. So if you're on the live stream, stay logged in from here, or else log back in by 6.
Back in. Yep.
Log back in at 6 to watch the opening ceremony. And the opening ceremony tomorrow night, is going to be a lot bigger than normal, just because of the flood, the honoring of the people of Rock Valley here, and some other things that you'll have to just log on and see.
Yeah, Countdown to Pull Time is a free. So we're live on Facebook right now. We're live on YouTube. Just to kind of remind people, because sometimes we get busy in our own lives. Oh, I forgot that's happening today.
Yeah.
This is you get that little notification on your phone or your computer that, hey, wow, Full Pull's live, and we can kick it out from there. So excited to be there. So, Dave, you, a couple weeks ago, has it been 3 weeks ago now since
3 weeks ago tomorrow is when the flood happened here in Rock Valley.
So people were waking up Saturday in the middle of the night, right?
I believe the emergency sirens were going off in the middle of the night. I think it was like 1:30, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
The sirens were sounded, and people were waking up, watching the water coming up their step in the basement, step by step. And as the water, this is one story I heard, as the water was halfway up the basement steps, they grabbed their kids and grabbed a few things. They went to the front door to say, "Let's go outside." And there was 3 feet of water at the door that came rushing in as soon as they opened that front door of their house.
Wow.
So the stories are endless, and the stories are very heart-touching, quite honestly, of what happened here.
Mike and I did drive through town today. We don't get some gas for the generator, and I took them through some of the area, and it's just horrible.
Yeah. I mean, if you drive through town right now, you've got to go looking for some of the areas that had this. just because the town has gotten cleaned up. A week later, I mean, you could tell something happened, but it wasn't mass destruction. So that says a lot for the people of Rock Valley and the surrounding communities that had flooding themselves. There's a lot of towns that don't get talked about. They had flooding also, but it was kind of the perfect storm here in Rock Valley with the river and the water upstream and the rain upstream and the rain that happened here for just hours on end.
And then, I know you had your cleanup 2 weeks ago. We were in White right down there pulling. You said about 80 volunteers showed up. The track was just covered, right? What did this place look like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago on this very 2 weeks ago tomorrow, we had 80 volunteers show up. We had a post out there saying we need volunteers. We don't want volunteers coming from town. We don't want to take away from what the town was doing. So we had 80 people of pullers and fans, and I would say about a third of them were fans. You expected area pullers to show up, but a third of them were fans. Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, of just fans that wanted to come help Rock Valley Tractor Pull happen as a way to give back to the community.
And the decision, I think, was made about 10 days ago where we're going to have this thing. It's going to be free will offering. They're going to put the donation buckets out, and that's when Full Pull went to Kurt and said, hey, let's work together on Outlaw Pulling TV. Let's give money back. I really think that people will be generous, and because Rock Valley's been giving us one of the best pulls in the Midwest for 21 years, I believe is the number. Dave, you probably know better than I do.
Yeah.
But this is our chance to give back.
Correct. Rock Valley's been going 21 years with this large of an event. And so for us to be able to give back as an organization, as Full Pull, as well as just the fans to be able to come in here to where, I mean, the stands are already filling up and it's only 4:15.
Yeah, Mike and I talked about that earlier today. Destination pulls. We talk about it all the time on our podcast. Outlawed, Let's Bronze Stone, and our Let's Grow Pulling. There's some venues, the cities or a pull, you don't have to say a state. It's just Rock Valley.
Rock Valley, and you know where you are. And looking down this pulling track right now and knowing the emotions this community has been through, this is a surreal feeling for me. And Dave, I can only imagine for you. How does it feel to be sitting here looking at a live and active pull track being prepped right now, knowing that in the minds about 10 days ago, this was completely in jeopardy?
There was 4 feet of water over this track 3 weeks ago. 4
Wow.
feet of water. And you can see where the water's carried corn stalks and everything through the area. You can't see it now, but you could a couple weeks ago. They had cover crop on this track. They've been growing cover crop every off season on this track.
Which is how you build a good pulling track.
That's organic matter.
Yep.
That's soil structure. If that organic matter and that cover crop would not have been on that track, that river literally is what came through here. That river would have washed this track away and we wouldn't be sitting here today. And so it's really neat to understand what took place. You cannot see remnants of 4 feet of water across this whole track and facility from 3 weeks ago.
Jason, when we rolled in last night, that was the first thing on my mind. I hadn't been to Rock Valley yet. I knew you had. But when we rolled in, and I know it was dark and hard to see, was your first impression, oh, man, this is floodwaters? Or did you kind of think, well, this looks like a good pulling venue?
No, I'm very familiar with this venue, and I've seen some pictures. I was here a week ago, Dave, and the parking lot where all the haulers are, there was trash and debris from the flood from the city about 50 feet high.
9,000 tons of, I hate to
That's
even call it it was left over from the flood.
Yep.
Trash.
Yeah.
9,000 tons was hauled in with side dumps, pickups, cars, recycled from metal to wood and then hauled off to the appropriate recycling dumps and things like that. 9,000 tons of a pile sitting right where the haulers are parking right now, and it looks clear as a bell.
What's the tone in town? We met a gentleman in town today, and he said he was coming to the pull, and he thanked us. He looked at us and he said, thank you for putting on a tractor pull in our town. What's the tone in town?
Yeah.
Are people just relieved, excited? Are they looking forward for a night off to come out here and just have a good time?
So when we talked to the leaders of Rock Valley and kind of just gave them their space, gave them their time for the first week, but we wanted to, if we were going to get something organized, we needed to start kind of getting it structured pretty fast. So we were number one priority was the emotion of the town. Can the town handle it? And enough of the leaders of the town came and said, this town needs this tractor pull. What a better way to get 18,000 people in your town to spend money at the gas station, to spend money at the local shops that are open today, to spend money at the restaurants. And so we took a couple days and just remained quiet. As time went on, we said, yes, let's at least have a cleanup day. So we scheduled that one exact week after the flood, and we started at 9 o'clock. The helpers just started flooding in, and we had 80 pitchforks going, is the best way to say it, pulling rubbish and corn stalks out from that east grandstand and some on the west. By noon, you could look at this facility and say they could have a pull here if they wanted to. That was on Saturday at noon. Monday afternoon, about 3, 4 o'clock, they decided, yes, we're going to. And so 2 weeks after the 1 week, so call it 9 days after the flood evacuation, they said, yes, we're going to do this. And then here we sit today, 3 weeks later.
It's amazing. It's
unreal.
Absolutely amazing. And then just, I want to thank God for great weather.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the people of Rock Valley and having a chance of rain, even 10%?
Yes.
Would just make you want to cry, Dave.
Correct.
So,
yes. And so we're saying this weekend is a celebration for Rock Valley.
Yes.
It's not a celebration. You got to be careful using that word. It's a celebration of us being able to love on the people of Rock Valley and the community and the surrounding communities. It's a way for us to give back. There's a large amount of donations going to be given to the city this weekend, tomorrow night, on the track and the opening ceremonies. And so we're excited just to be here to love on the people of Rock Valley and give back to them at the venue that they've been here to give us so generously over the last 21 years.
We've had you on a couple of the podcasts, Dave, and you said, we always say, like we talked about Dave and Linda Bennett, I'm thinking of you, or I'm sending a prayer, and I think a lot of us just say that. It's great to comment that on Facebook, right?
Yes.
But to actually get on your knees or just quietly have a moment of silence and say a prayer, because, we're going to be out of here Sunday. And on to our next poll. I don't even know where we're going next week yet, Mike.
We're splitting the band up. We've got 4 shows in 2 days, actually 5 shows in 3 days.
But the people of Rock Valley have to continue to live here and rebuild their lives. And
correct.
That's where I hope we can really do that. So Ron Stone's making his way over. Ron, can you hear me? He's on his way over. He's going to take the seat of Dave Nelson. Dave Nelson's going to head over and
we're going to go do
run
a
our
driver's meeting and get ready for opening ceremonies tonight.
It's going to be awesome. So, Dave, thanks for coming on tonight. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
No, the biggest thing, the challenge that we've had through all this of what's happened in Rock Valley, what's happened with Miss Linda Bennett is a lot of times we'll say, I'll be praying for you. But our challenge from the Outlaws to each one of us personally as well as to everybody is let's just not let it be a figure of speech. But when we say we're going to pray for somebody, let's pray for them in our off time as we're driving, as we're thinking about them. Let's say a prayer and not just say a nice verbiage or gesture to them, but remember to say a prayer.
Dave, thank you for all your extra efforts working with the people of Rock Valley, because you don't live here, but you care about it, and it was great to have you involved. So whatever they can continue with their rebuilding, and you can help organize the volunteers, and you're so professional, and thank you for all of that,
We're
Dave.
excited to help. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
We're going to bring Ron Stone up next, the voice of the Outlaws, up on stage with us here next on Countdown to Pull Time. Mike, that was great talking to Dave. Just a knowledge, great guy, super organized, super detailed. The right person you want to organize a big, I guess, volunteer effort like they had here a couple weeks ago.
His organizational skills, he brought us a play-by-play of what the opening ceremonies are going to look like, and he's so well-spoken. And speaking of well-spoken,
Ron Stone.
It's unfair that a man should be blessed with both good looks and
in this
an
corner,
excellent
6'2",
smooth
beautiful
voice.
man from Kansas City,
I don't know
Missouri.
if I resemble any of that you're speaking of, but it's a beautiful day here in Rock Valley, Iowa, of course.
Are you awake yet, Ron, after our 3 a.m. road trip back from Ottawa?
I'm waking up slowly.
Yep. You and me both. I grabbed myself a Coltrane energy drink.
Yep,
Thank you, Trey.
Sugar-free even, wow.
I like the sugar-free. You've seen me on a couple years ago in Wisner when I slammed those green ones in front of you.
Yep.
And you were like, Jason, this isn't going to be good.
Well, Jason is a bit of a health nut, so he's got that.
I'm a health nut.
sugar-free.
I'm a health nut. So I do want to kind of, before we're jovial and having fun, Dave Bennett was supposed to be in this booth tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday night. We went through with you, Mr. Stone. Mike, you were going to be down here handling the rock giveaways. Yes. Dave and his wife, Linda, had a horrible motorcycle accident last weekend with our great friends, Kevin and Lori Bauer, and Linda lost her life. And Dave's home. Dave's in the hospital right now trying to recover. And when you talk about, Ron, you are the voice of the Outlaws. Well, you talk about a voice for the sport. And what Dave, because a lot of people said to me that aren't familiar with the Outlaws, who's Dave Bennett? I said, the guy with the cowboy hat that announces at Louisville.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah.
And they're like, that guy's
Been
great. I mean, there's been people messaging Facebook. They couldn't wait to hear the Dave stories. And
yeah, it's and we got a message from Dave on Wednesday night over in Concord, Nebraska, our event there, that he was watching from his hospital room there in Oklahoma City at OU Medical Center. Pulling fan, motorsports fan in general, and he's a pulling nut just like we are. I mean, he loves the sport. He's also been, into monster truck racing. But the man has traveled the globe.
Yeah.
Did a couple of tours of motorsports. I think it's Monster Truck Show in Australia. He's been to Canada. He's been all over the world. And yeah, you've seen some of the people that were coming on. I seen where a Bigfoot driver, Jim Kramer, came on and commented on the accident. On Facebook, Jim Kramer was like Bob Chandler's neighbor, the first driver besides Bob Chandler to drive Bigfoot,
Right.
and he remembered Dave Bennett and was sending his condolences to Dave's wife. So a horrible situation. Dave's hanging in there from what I'm hearing, and he still has multiple surgeries. Long road ahead for him in recovery and
No, Dave was here
rehabilitation.
last year for the 20th, right, Ron? He kind of came out of retirement. When
Yes.
did you officially take over for Dave? What was the
2020.
Was there a handoff?
There was.
it like a
2020.
baton? Like
Yep, he
It was a
handed me
microphone. A ceremonial mic transition.
He handed me the baton at the end of 2019, and
Awesome.
2020 was my first full season as the announcer for the Outlaws. And I've done a few shows with Fred Petch and done a few shows with Dave Bennett here in the Cowtown Showtown and things like that.
Yep.
But great announcer, always great presence of what's going on, at an event. And he just has a lot of experience, He knows what's happening.
I can't think of another announcer with more catchphrases and one-liners, and I've been known
And
to
he says
steal-
stuff that I can never say. If I said half the stuff he said, I'd get in trouble. They'd be ripping on me on Facebook.
Maybe you need to wear a cowboy hat when you announce.
No,
Maybe that-
Dave don't care.
but no, he has that. You were talking about it, Ron. That power to affect people positively immediately when he shows up. I mean, even those who haven't met him. I mean, I look to him as someone who influences the sayings that I use when I announce. He just has that energy about him, thinking about him.
The best
completely.
announcers have that knowledge of the sport and yet can still entertain, right?
Yeah.
Because there's announcers that know the sport, but they're dry as the dirt right here, right now, right? But then there's people like me that don't know enough about Hemi. But that's why we have to bring Ron Stone on. That's why I like announcing with Ron, because you know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
I could talk about diesel classes all night long. But
And for the longest time, Dave did the mother-in-law jokes.
Yes.
And then he even had his own website, Mother-in-Law's Garage and such. But the mother-in-law jokes, he did those forever, and people know him for all those jokes. And he would walk around and interact with the crowd, at a lot of the events. But great guy, still a friend of mine. I'll be surprised if he's not texting me tonight, giving me a hard time.
oh, he
when I'm
will.
announcing.
So, Dave Bennett, we love you. We hope you get better. We are saying prayers about you. And we love your entire family. So, Ron, Rock Valley, 21 years. 2 weeks ago, we didn't know we were having this poll.
Yeah.
Here we sit today. The weather is perfect, and we're basically 2 hours away from ripping down some of the biggest trucks and tractors in the country here in Rock Valley,
2 hours
Iowa.
away from
How
Great
are you
Lakes.
feeling as the guy, Ron?
I feel great. I'm ready to go. I went through the pits a little bit. There's a few new machines back there I haven't seen before. Some machines that have changed. Some guys that don't normally pull with the Outlaws are here.
Yeah, we talked about that. Mike and I do a lot of social media, and you help as well. But, like, holy cow, so-and-so's coming. Then we're always like, oh, I feel bad for the pullers that come every week. But for the fans, to see a different puller or maybe a big NTPA puller or a big PPL puller or something like that come that we normally don't see, that's fun to mix it up. Because everybody wants to know. They see that 340-foot pass on YouTube or on Facebook, and they go, I wonder what that would look like next to one of our vehicles.
Right.
And we've come to find out those Texas two-wheel drive trucks that we have, they can hang with anybody. Because who showed up down at Whitewright? The Sullivans.
Yep.
And I guarantee old Donald Nelson and the boys, and then Ray Miller's son, Jace, won it on Saturday night.
Yeah,
So,
and that is exactly right, because a lot of people wonder, I wonder how those NTPA trucks would do against those Outlaw trucks, or vice versa against the PPL trucks. And you get to see it happen, at places like Rock Valley and Whitewright, and it is entertaining to see that they all do compete on the same level.
And when you flip the script, it's a lot of fun from the Outlaw side of things, because you can kind of see our guys back there saying, come on down and play in our sandbox, but we're not going to give you the captain's chair just right away like you were talking about down in Texas.
There isn't one puller that's, I'm
No.
just going to back out of it. So, I mean, they were giving that mod class with Papa Wayne, and Donald won both nights down there. It was fun. I mean, Texas swept.
Yeah.
They dominated that pull down there last weekend.
You know,
we have a lot of Texas pullers, and they're all up here with us. It's fun. It's a long ways, right? But those guys we do it 2 or 3 times a year, right, Ron? We go to
and it's a long ways.
Whitewright, Lufkin, and then DeLeon. They do it every weekend. It takes longer to get out of Texas than it does to get back to Iowa.
When they hit Oklahoma, they're halfway there.
Yeah.
So.
And it is fun. It's entertaining. I mean, I know we're here to do a job, and you're working, and you got to be on your toes when you're announcing a show. But it's always fun when it gets entertaining like that, when you bring those other guys in. You bring the Sullivans in at Whitewright, and everybody's, leaning on their equipment, and it makes it enjoyable. And you get excited, Mike, as an announcer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I've been known to get a little fired up there in the announcer's booth. I'll just start pulling the mic away a little bit when I get to yelling into it.
We're going to tie Ron said he's going to tie a little rope to you. Like the little puppy on the leash. You
Put
can
the
only go
harness
about
on
20
him and
feet.
pull him back a little bit.
You need like a throttle cable that you can pull back on the volume
Yeah.
when I get too wired and
Somebody-
fired.
Don't give Mike any more ether.
Yeah.
It's all good. We got track prep going on here in the background. Fans are already starting to come in. Again, free will donations all weekend here at Rock Valley. If you can't be here, we're live on Facebook and YouTube right now. Head over to fullpull.live. $40 for all 3 sessions. Watch it from home. Every dollar fullpull.live is giving that money back. We also have real money wagering this weekend as well, Ron. We got Pro Stocks tonight, 2-wheel drives, Super Farms and Light Super Stocks. Those games are already up. There's also a game in Illinois for mini rods tonight. It's fun to do that. You and I had a little bit of fun with it in White
Yeah.
Right. You actually made a little money down there, White
I
Right,
did
Ron.
make a little money, and it's fun. It actually is fun to do that. Folks, if you haven't done it and you're on the fence about it, you're not sure, try it out. It is a lot of fun to do, and it literally is like, making a friendly wager with a buddy. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well, every pull that you ever drove to, I'm sure whether it was with your father or a best friend, what do you do the whole way there? You're making picks, right?
Yeah,
You're saying, here's who
absolutely.
I think. So we're not doing anything that we haven't been doing, but let's just put the $5 on it that we were doing in the car anyway, and it pays back a little bit when you hit them right. I haven't hit them right yet, but old Ron knows how to hit them right.
When you hit them right, yeah, and it takes a little bit of luck, a little bit of knowledge, and a little bit of luck. And, the first time we did the You Pick 'em show right before White Right, when
Yes.
we did that show there, and you were like, well, what do you think of this class? And I was like, well, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, but there's this other truck, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, which one? You're just not sure.
What I love about it is if you say, okay, I'm going to bet $10, and it'll go be like, okay, if it closed right now, you'd win $192. Now, the money line does move because the money, it's like horse racing. It follows that vehicle. So if a bunch of money goes on, like, say, Donald Nelson in the mods, obviously his odds aren't as good. And if he does hit, it doesn't pay out as much.
Right.
But that's how real money wagering works. So.
That's why you don't like picking with me, because you were asking my picks earlier.
Yeah, I was like, he wanted to go all. He's like, he wants the favorites
Every
Well,
time.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm gonna put a $5 bet and win 50 cents.
Yeah, that's what we had. I was like, Mike, we're not betting $5 to win 50 cents.
And you never know, you might pick a couple of dark horses, and it could pay off really well.
Yeah.
They're
So
really
it's all good. It's all good. Well, guys, let's wrap this up here. We got a lot. Opening ceremonies are going to start at 6 tonight. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook right now, head over to fullpull.live. Get logged in. It's $40 for the whole weekend. Okay, that's the only subscription is you get all 3 bundles. Whether you want to watch Friday night, Saturday night, or Saturday day, or just one or all 3. Remember, with that, you can go back and watch it again and again and again.
And I know we've covered this, and you may have covered it before I came up, but folks that have subscriptions already to
Yes.
Outlaw Pulling TV, they should have received an email.
And a lot of the emails went into their junk and to their spam.
Okay, that's
So I'm glad you brought that up because I've taken a lot of phone calls today, and when it's in their junk or their spam. But I have my phone number on Facebook. Give me a call. Once I verify that you're a subscriber, I can send you a free code as an Outlaw Pulling TV subscriber so that you don't have to pay again. But if you can afford the extra $40, because the money's going back to the people of Rock Valley, we really would encourage you to do that.
Other than that, check your junk mail
Junk or
and
spam,
your spam folder.
Because when you send out a blast email like that to all of our subscribers, we have thousands of them, they flag it.
Yep.
I don't know how to say it any other way.
yeah,
But I
that's
just
big.
talked to a gentleman from Nebraska who can't make it tonight but wants to watch, and he said, hey, I found your number on Facebook, and I said, go check your junk mail real quick. And he goes, yep, there it is.
Yeah, those mass
This is
emails.
Rock Valley live stream. So.
Yeah, and there's people. We're 2 hours before start time. There's people sitting out here already.
Well, they're rolling the track in. I mean, we're not messing around. They're going to be ready to go tonight. Ron, have you looked at any? Either one of you looked at the official app count tonight?
122?
120-ish, 120 to 125, somewhere in there. It keeps changing. And I think they're getting pretty close to being done with sign-ins.
Yep. Drivers' meetings going on right now.
We're going to be between 120 and 125, I think.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
It'll be a great night. Great night. Going to be
Where's our
gonna be
friend
an
Doug
excellent
Borth
show.
at? So
Dougie Doug. Where's Doug?
Dougie Doug, where'd Dougie Doug go? Well, so we're going to wrap this up on behalf of Ron Stone, Mike Idle. I'm Jason Schultz with the Outlaws. We're all good. Let's sign it off, Doug. Well, you need to radio in. We're done. Do your job.
Jason needs another drink. Someone bring Jason another Coltrane. It's a victim of the wind
We'll
here.
see you soon, everybody.
Thanks
Have
for
a great
watching,
night.
folks.